Welcome to MarathonJourney.com. v2.5, using the Jeff Galloway Run-Walk-Run Marathon training program, taking me from a recliner chair jockey to a marathon finisher. We're here at the end of the week in Susanville, California for the Bizz Johnson Trail Marathon. And at pickup today we have the Rails to Trails Festival going on. There are handcar races, there are booths going on, kind of a celebration, and the fastest bib pickup I have ever seen. We just walked in and picked up our shirts and our bibs and we're ready to go. Tomorrow morning we have a 9 o'clock start. Got to be here at 7:30 for the buses to take us up to the start at over 5,000 feet. So we peak at 5,500 feet before we head back down here to the valley floor, going along the Bizz Johnson Trail. Should be an experience like you wouldn't believe. We'll bring that for you. And in the meantime, we're going to be getting ready for our marathon. We'll see you at the starting line.
Who likes them scared? Okay,
that was really great.
Quick update before the start. We're here at the Susanville city limits, and what do we find but a welcome sign, something we didn't even have at the Disneyland half marathon. Pretty cool. Good morning and welcome to race morning at the Bizz Johnson Trail Marathon. We are walking out to the start after taking about a 40-minute bus ride to get here. So the weather a little bit chilly, but not too bad. Not as cold as we expected it to be. We're getting here to the start line as the 50Kers are coming through, so we got to let them through. We'll be starting in a little less than 10 minutes. We'll let you know how it goes. So far, it's just out here in the forest on a trail. We hope we don't get lost. We'll see you at the start.
Please line up on your right. Make way for the
All right, we're coming up to that magic place called the turnaround. We are just past mile 2, and as you can see, this is a continuous grade. And we'll be attacking an uphill until we get to mile 6. So 4 more miles of this to go, and we're climbing in altitude. See you a little farther down the road. When talking about marathon, sometimes facts are hard to find. Well, here's a fact for you. Six miles of uphill to start the race. At least it's not the last 6. But enjoy the scenery. Let's talk a little bit about the trail. We are a little over 3 miles in, but so far the trail has been hard pack commercial road base, and you can definitely see that there's a 2-wheel track here. But if you stay on the wheel track, it's very smooth, very few rocks, not at all like running on gravel. It's very much like the old school tracks were back in the day. Okay, we're coming up on mile 4, and we've acquired our first target. Well, the the Bizz Johnson is a rails to trails, which means this was the old Central Pacific rail line. But the amazing thing is, it started in 1914, was abandoned back in the 50s, and was converted over to a trail. But look what the runners keep picking up. Ran into a couple of these in the middle of the trail. Just for everybody running over it. Really rails to trails. See a little farther down the road. We're coming up shortly onto mile 9, and one thing that a trail marathon like this does for us back of the packers that we don't normally see is come around a corner and there's a big old long straightaway and you're in contact with the rest of the pack. It's very astonishing. Coming up on mile 10, out in the forest. 11.6, and we're at our first wooden bridge, traversing what is pretty much almost a dry creek. Mile 12, being down at the rocks below. Leaves starting to change a little. Just about perfect weather. Don't want to make a wrong turn on this course. It's a long way down. This area is called the Volcano Legacy area because of all the volcanic activity that shows itself here. Just jumbles of rocks everywhere. They do have some rooms for rent up here. You have to provide your own cleaning supplies, but coming close to 13. And it's downhill. Some pretty amazing sights. You don't see that in an urban marathon. Welcome to Gumaz. Just a reminder, because Magellan hasn't fixed it yet, we are at 14.52, give or take maybe 100, but this has been so spot on, it's been ridiculous. Except if you look at the Magellan that says we are at mile 15.62. Give me a break. I wish I was running a 13:39 pace right now. I'm actually running a 14:41 pace. It's saying that I'm running over a minute faster than I am. Absolute, total, and complete garbage data. I can't use it. I can't use it for pace. I can't use it for grade. I can't even use the elevation, because I checked the elevation and it was several hundred feet off from what the BLM charts say it is. So far, complete fail from Magellan. The switch up to Garmin. Coming up to mile 16, still enjoying the scenery.
catch on camera. Coming up on mile 17. The shade of the trees is keeping it fairly cool. I heard some comments, or read some comments, that the downhills on this course weren't noticeable. Believe me, I noticed them. Because without them, I wouldn't be trucking along like this. Just loosen it up and let gravity take over. Mile 17. See a little farther down the road. And as we drop down in elevation, the pine trees are taking on a little different look. And on the trail itself, a lot more brush along the edges than we had up in the higher altitudes, signaling that we're dropping in altitude, which is good because the finish line is at the bottom of this. Here past 18 miles, we see the scenery change again. Drop into the mountain meadows. 19.5 miles, we get to one of the long bridges. Goes over the old roadway bridge that was, man, just wiped out. Looks like my foot. Kind of a different feeling running across a bridge like this because it does have a little bit of spring to it. And when you see wherever you are, we have gotten to that spot in the trail where we say, you have got to be kidding. This is lovingly referred to as the wall, and it comes at mile 20. How apt. See you at the other side. At mile 20, that was horrid. Okay, you know what time it is? It's time for the mile 20 happy dance. Hey, 10K to go. At mile 21, we're seeing another big change in the scenery. Much more open. Trees much more sparse. And down below the Susan River, running barely. Kind of more like the Susan Creek right now. Another bridge. Bridges patched with plywood, and you have to understand my aversion to bridges, especially ones that are being held together with plywood. But we made it. Alright, coming up on mile 22, one of the two special features of the course, as we get to run through the abandoned railroad tunnel. There is light at the end of the tunnel, literally and figuratively, because we have an aid station. But that's a pretty cool frame, huh? one tunnel wasn't enough, here's number 2. Punched through the mountain almost 100 years ago. I don't know if you can hear it on the mic, but the wind coming through the tunnel is like it's going through a refrigerator. It is cold coming through here. I'm not sure I want to run where you can't see where your feet are falling. And the footing inside here is a lot more gravelly than out on the trail. It looks like there's some pretty substantial rock that's been laid down, probably because this tunnel slopes, and I'm sure it has a lot of water that goes through it, so I'm sure that's a drainage problem. If you got a flashlight, it wouldn't be bad. And the warmth of the outside is palpable. Alright, we're just beyond the 23.1 mile mark. We've got 5K to go, and legs are tired. The nice thing is that my hamstrings and my glutes and my calves hurt so much that every once in a while I have to kind of say, hey, how's that Achilles feeling? Yeah, it still hurts, but now everything else hurts too, so it's kind of in good company, and I think about it less. But hey, we're still out here, one foot in front of the other. As the 100-milers say, relentless forward motion. Take it 1 mile at a time, one interval at a time, one step at a time. Whatever you need to do, just keep moving forward. And we got less than 5K left. See you a little farther down the road. If you're using a Magellan Switch Series watch, right now you're saying, who moves the finish line? Because it's 26.22 miles. Well, take a look at the Garmin. It's 23.88. Wow. Epic fail, Magellan. Epic fail. And there it is, mile 25. God save the Queen. Much less pretty here a mile from the finish. Few pines, but just a lot of scrub and brown and rocks. Good reason to finish. Alright, we're getting close to the Holy Grail, mile 26. On to finish. Here we go, heading into Hobo Camp for the finish. This is going to feel good. And for some reason we have to go uphill to the finish line. Cruel joke. Here we go.
Great job! Woo.
Heck yeah.
Right there.
And here we come to the finish of the Bizz Johnson Trail Marathon. There's the clock up there. It's all gun time. 6:40 and some change, so hey, we did it. See you on the other side. Well, here we are, back where it all started at the Susanville train depot. Got my medal, got a finish. We did it. Crossed the finish line upright with a smile on our face, and probably ready to do it again. Never make decisions about a race right afterwards. We'll come back and critique what we liked about the race and things that really kind of drove us nuts. But you know, those are all personal opinions, and hopefully we'll have you be a little bit better informed if you decide to run the Bizz Johnson Trail Marathon. We'll see you in a little bit. Well, we're here the morning after the Bizz Johnson Trail Marathon, and we've had some time to kind of sit back and think about the pros and cons of the race. It obviously was a very good day because the 50K men's and women's records were set. There was a new men's marathon record set. There was a new men's half marathon and express half marathon record set, and a new women's 10K record set. So all in all, I can't complain about the conditions, because with that many records falling in one day, it had to be good. So let's talk about the pros and cons of the race. Let's talk about the cons first. First off, if you're in it for the bling, forget it. Yep, you get a medal. It's a cheesy kind of generic medal with a vinyl sticker on here that says Bizz Johnson. So I'm sure they just stock up on 2012 medals and put different stickers on them. I have to tell you that I have never worked so hard for such a cheesy medal, and it is one that I'm going to value because it is my first trail marathon, and like I said, worked harder for this one than just about anything. So this one goes on the wall too, but if you're in it for the shiny and the bling, yeah, this one isn't going to be for you. There's 6 miles of uphill to start, which is kind of a pain. I guess it's better than 6 miles of uphill on the end. All depends on how you look at it. The aid stations are spaced every 3 miles until you get to mile 20, and then they go to every 2 miles. The first aid station is at 1.5 miles, and you don't see another one till mile 5, and then it starts with a 3-mile spacing. So you can't run light. You need to carry a lot more with you. This is a trail marathon, so you need to be fairly self-contained. It isn't even like if you run out of something, you can stop at a 7-Eleven or somebody's house and grab a water hose. Better carry water and anything you need with you. By mile 20, all of those trees start to look the same. All the rocks start to look the same. So, you know, there's good things to say about running out in nature, and there's some boring things too, just like anything else. There are 2 railroad tunnels that you run through, which are really cool, but they're not well lit. The second tunnel is 800 feet long, and it's full of some rather oddly shaped, fairly deep gravel in spaces, because it does have kind of a slope to it, so I'm sure the water runs through there. They have to do that for drainage, but by the time we got there, the lanterns had dimmed to almost imperceptible, and they weren't providing any light inside the tunnel, so we had to slow down. I walked that entire tunnel because it was just a little too precarious to run through. Every time on this course is gun time. You have a B chip on your bib, but that's just to record your finish time. So it's a trail run. They call you up with a megaphone and say, okay, everybody line up, all right, ready, go, and that's when the time starts. You are absolutely filthy by the finish. This is a new pair of Enigma 2s that, as you know, are white and silver. You are this filthy from your feet clear to your waist,
by the time this run is over, and in some other places too. You can tell the veteran trail runners because everything they wear is kind of dingy, and now I know why. There's a huge uphill climb at mile 20. You go down underneath a bridge that spans a gorge, and then you run up the embankment back up to road level, and at mile 20 that was a pain. I ended up walking that. It's much less of a downhill race than the course elevation would suggest. There are some very nice downhill sections that you just go yes, and you can just kind of relax and let gravity take over, but for every little bit of down there's a little bit of up in many places, and there were some long stretches that you looked at and you went, this trail is still going up. Not much, but enough to be noticeable. If you want spectators to cheer you on, there aren't any. I mean, there were no birds on the course. You're out there on a trail, and except for the other runners, and one guy who was taking pictures of one of the other participants, and I saw him 3 times at least on the course. That was about it. So other than aid stations, bring your own cheering squad in your head. And this is a trail marathon, so your times are going to be slower than a road marathon. So just be aware of that. You're not going to be just going out there and screaming, because you are running on the dirt. Let's go to the pros. There's no pavement. This is 100% trail, so it's less jarring on your joints. It's a lot softer, and pretty smooth trail, not too bad. Very friendly aid station volunteers. We were greeted at every aid station with water and electrolytes if we wanted it. Plus, there was always somebody there with either a jug or manning the cooler to refill our bottles, and plenty of stuff at the aid stations. M&Ms, pretzels, chips, Fritos, goo every once in a while, so that was pretty cool. There were some very long straightaways because this is a railroad bed, and that allowed the slower runners to actually keep in touch with the pack. Normally with a marathon, with all the twists and turns, after a while you kind of lose touch with everybody. Well, when there's a big old huge long straightaway, you get to see the people that are ahead of you, which is really kind of encouraging. And like I said, there's trees instead of shopping centers for scenery, so it is something different compared to your urban marathon. All in all, I'm glad I ran it. There were plenty of friendly runners everywhere, great volunteers at the aid stations. I would suggest, if you've never run a trail marathon before, that if you have any questions, ask the questions. There were always people there who were more than willing to answer questions. And the start, you gotta, when they call you on the megaphone, make sure you get out there, because you're not going to have any big fanfare to start. It's just, okay, you're ready, go. And so be aware of that. And the trail's fairly well marked. You almost can't get lost. And so it's something to try. If you've never tried a trail marathon, this is a pretty good one. It's cold at the start, and it's warm at the finish. So it gives you a great start, and there are plenty of sections that have a lot of shade and tree cover, so it's not like you're burning up out there on the trail. Pretty nice. Glad I did it. Don't know that I'll do it again. It was a lot more brutal than I thought it was going to be, because looking, of course, at the elevation, it looked like, wow, once you hit the top, you're coasting downhill, and not quite so much. But it's one that, like I said, that medal's going to hang on my wall, and it's one that I'm going to be proud of. And if you've never run a trail marathon, hey, this is one to try. You'll be proud of your finish too. And in the meantime, sign up for your next marathon. Get out there and train. Put one foot in front of the other. And if you do that, we'll be seeing you out there on the road.
Bye.